Jezzy. Guess who called me again last night?
Control, check in Strudabov and Rose.
Jay's assignment. Let's see. That's very clever, Dmitri. Come to my office. What do you mean? Yeah.
The movie kicks off with a road trip featuring two people, Jim and Tracy. Jim clearly has feelings for Tracy, but he has no clue that she's playing him. She's actually an undercover cop. Tracy works as a forensic psychologist, teaming up with Dr. Alex Cross to hunt down a dangerous serial killer. She's been used as bait for this operation, and Alex's team is keeping a close watch. However, the killer soon realizes something's off when he spots a tracking device in Tracy's car. Sensing danger, Tracy pulls out her gun, leading to a chaotic situation. In the struggle, Jim loses control of the car, crashing and seriously injuring Tracy. In self-defense, she shoots Jim in the leg before being thrown forward, smashing into the dashboard. The car skids onto a metal beam hanging over a dam. Alex arrives just in time to try and save her, but before he can do anything, the beam gives way, sending Tracy and the vehicle plummeting into the water below. Alex is left devastated, watching helplessly as she drowns. This tragic moment pushes Alex to step away from his career in law enforcement. 8 months later, the story shifts focus to Megan Rose, the daughter of U.S. Senator Hank Rose. She attends an elite private school where security is tight, with Secret Service agents keeping an eye on the students. During a computer class taught by Mr. Gary Sony, Megan playfully chats with her friend Dmitri, who happens to be the Russian president's son. After class, Sony calls Megan to his office under the pretense of discussing her behavior with Dmitri. But before she can react, he injects her with a sedative hidden inside a pen. As she struggles, she notices something strange. Sony is wearing a prosthetic face mask. Before she can process what's happening, a teacher walks in and catches sight of Megan collapsing. Without hesitation, Sony strangles the teacher to death, adjusts his mask to hide his real identity, and abducts Megan. He stuffs her inside a mobile cabinet disguised as computer equipment and sneaks out of the school undetected. Meanwhile, Special Agent Jezzy Flanagan notices that Megan is missing during lunch. Suspicious, she heads to Sony's office, only to stumble upon the teacher's dead body, and no sign of Megan or Sony. By this point, the kidnapper has already left the school with his victim. Dr. Alex Cross, still haunted by Tracy's death, has been living with guilt for months. His wife encourages him to return to work, but he remains hesitant. Meanwhile, the kidnapper, now free with Megan in his grasp, prepares for his getaway. He discards his prosthetic mask in the ocean and locks Megan in a small room, all while keeping an eye on the news to see how the world is reacting to the abduction. Alex, also watching the news, receives a disturbing phone call from Sony. The kidnapper uses a voice changer, taunting Alex and luring him back into the game. He instructs Alex to check his mailbox, where he finds one of Megan's small boots. Alarmed, Alex rushes to the senator's house, where the police and FBI are already investigating. Alex meets FBI agent Kyle Craig and learns that Agent Ollie MacArthur is leading the investigation. However, Jezzy has been removed from the case because of her past failure to protect Megan. Alex pushes for her to be involved, believing she has valuable insights into Sony's personality and behavior. He speaks with Megan's parents, suggesting that the kidnapping might not be about money. This raises concerns about the kidnapper's true intentions. Meanwhile, Sony keeps a close watch on Megan through security cameras as she regains consciousness. He tries to calm her down, but ultimately locks her away again. Alex and Jezzy decide to work together, discussing Sony's background. When Alex shows her a picture, Jezzy insists that Sony was just a regular teacher with no obvious warning signs. After some debate, they agree to dig deeper. The next day, the investigation ramps up at the school. The team searches Sony's classroom and discovers that he installed a keylogger on Megan's computer, tracking her keystrokes. However, they can't access the data without her password. Security agent Ben Devine admits he barely knew Sony. While reviewing surveillance footage, Alex notices something odd, a missing class photo. Digging further, he comes across a live video feed revealing a medicine kit with a name on it. This leads them to discover Sony's real identity, Jonathan Marusso. The address on the medicine bottle allows them to track down his residence. When the FBI storms Marusso's house, they find detailed plans for Megan's abduction. The walls are covered with pictures of her and her family, making it clear that he has been planning this for a long time. Alex soon realizes that Sony is obsessed with recreating the infamous 1932 Lindbergh baby kidnapping. The pieces start falling into place when Alex connects Sony's cryptic quotes to Bruno Hauptmann, the criminal behind the original Lindbergh case. Back on the water, Sony is spotted by a patrol boat, which calls him out for not having his navigation lights on. Megan overhears this and quickly presses a button Sony had shown her earlier, hoping to alert the officers. But Sony catches on fast. He excuses himself, heads inside, and disables the speaker Megan was using to call for help. He then turns on the boat's lights, smoothly dismissing any suspicion. Meanwhile, the FBI and Megan's parents discuss how to bait Sony into making a mistake. They realize that he's not just a kidnapper. He's after recognition, hoping to cement his name in history like Richard Hauptmann. Alex is determined to bring him down and get Megan back safely. The FBI decides to publicly acknowledge Sony's intelligence, broadcasting a statement saying he is more complex than they initially thought and that Megan's life depends entirely on his decisions. Watching the news, Sony feels validated, further fueling his ego. Megan, however, is far from helpless. Remembering Sony's earlier lesson about electronics, she removes a battery from the speaker and secretly pockets it. Later, she pretends to need the bathroom. When Sony lets her out, she discreetly places the battery inside a hot tea kettle on the stove, then closes the bathroom door and waits. Before long, the battery explodes, causing a fire. As Sony scrambles to put it out, Megan takes her chance, running out of the boat and diving into the water. She swims toward the shore, calling for help. A fisherman hears her cries and rushes to her aid. But just as he's about to rescue her, Sony appears furious. He pulls out a gun and shoots the fisherman dead, leaving Megan stranded once again. Sony drags her back to the boat, warning her never to disobey him again or face worse consequences. Meanwhile, the FBI finds the fisherman's body along with Megan's jacket nearby. Jesse feels uneasy, worried about Megan's fate, but Alex assures her that the girl is still alive. Sony wouldn't kill her just yet. What no one realizes, though, is that Megan's abduction is just a small part of Sony's grand scheme. He has bigger plans in mind, and Alex is still trying to piece together why Megan was his specific target. That night, Alex and Jesse make their way to Dimitri's house. Since he's the son of the Russian president, he lives in a heavily guarded embassy. The security at the entrance won't let them talk to Dimitri, but inside, he's just received a message that he thinks is from Megan. She says he's the only one she can trust and begs for his help. Unbeknownst to him, it's actually Sani behind the screen, using Megan's encrypted password to send messages. Turns out, this whole kidnapping scheme is centered around Dmitry Starodubov, the Russian president's son. With no other choice, Jesse and Alex park outside and keep watch. Meanwhile, Sani tricks Dmitry into stepping outside the embassy by sending him a message to meet at a nearby payphone. Thinking Megan needs him, Dmitry sneaks past security and out the embassy gates. While sitting in their car, Alex notices a suspicious cab approaching, and Jesse spots Dmitry heading for the phone booth. That's when they realize the kidnapper is nearby. Acting fast, they rush to protect Dmitry, forcing Sani to retreat to his cab. But before driving off, he opens fire, prompting Alex and Jesse to shoot back. Despite their efforts, Sani speeds away, leaving Dmitry safe but shaken. The situation quickly escalates as more law enforcement officers arrive at the embassy. Meanwhile, back at his yacht, Sani discovers that Megan is no longer locked in her room. Furious, he loses his temper, trashing the place while trying to figure out how she managed to escape. Realizing he needs leverage, he sends Alex a ransom demand, $10 million in pure diamonds from the Russian president. If Alex doesn't cooperate, Megan's life is over. With no other choice, Alex follows the kidnapper's instructions, making drop-offs at various payphones around the city, each step leading him to the next clue. Eventually, he's ordered onto a train, where he must break a window and toss the diamonds to a man in black waiting on the tracks. Later that night, things take a shocking turn when Sani shows up at Jesse's home, intending to take her hostage. But before he can carry out his plan, he's met with an unexpected surprise. Alex is already there, waiting for him. They exchange heated words, with Alex accusing Sani of orchestrating the ransom drop. However, Alex cleverly mentions that the ransom amounted to $12 million, just to see Sani's reaction. When Sani doesn't seem to know what he's talking about, Alex realizes something crucial. Sani wasn't the one behind the ransom demand. There's someone else pulling the strings. Realizing he's been exposed, Sani tries to escape, but Alex doesn't hesitate. He shoots Sani on the spot, ending his twisted games for good. However, instead of relief, the news of Saney's death sends shockwaves through Megan's family. Her parents lash out at Alex, furious that he killed the only person who might have known where Megan was being held. But Alex remains firm. He promises to bring Megan home, no matter what it takes. As the search intensifies, the real mastermind behind the kidnapping is revealed. Ben Devine, a Secret Service agent. Not only was he the one who collected the ransom, but he's also the one holding Megan captive. Meanwhile, Jesse shows up at Ben's place, and the two share an intimate moment. Turns out they've been working together all along, and now the diamonds belong to them. But their partnership takes a dark turn when Ben admits he couldn't bring himself to kill Megan. Jesse, clearly irritated, warns him that Alex is getting closer to uncovering the truth. Then, in a ruthless move, she demands the diamonds and, without hesitation, shoots Ben dead. As Alex digs deeper, he uncovers shocking evidence. Jesse had known about Saney all along. She had been using him as a pawn to set up the ransom scheme, all while secretly planning to collect the money for herself. She and Ben had been working on this elaborate plan for quite some time, gathering information on Saney's activities and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Alex eventually hacks into Jesse's personal computer, where he finds detailed records of Saney's movements, the plans to kidnap Megan and Dimitri, and even messages between her and Ben. Determined to stop her, Alex tracks Jesse to a remote farmhouse. By the time he arrives, she has already killed Ben and is now preparing to eliminate Megan as well. When Megan first sees Jesse, she assumes she's there to save her. But something feels off. Sensing danger, Megan hesitates, refusing to open the door. Jesse, growing impatient, fires at the wooden walls, trying to force her out. Thinking fast, Megan smashes a light bulb, making it harder for Jesse to see clearly. Then, using the distraction, she sneaks out of the barn. Jesse begins searching for Megan, but before she can find her, Alex arrives. Spotting Megan, he signals for her to stay quiet. Then, he turns his attention to Jesse, confronting her with his gun drawn. He calls her out for her betrayal, mocking her for thinking she could outsmart him. But Jesse, always manipulative, tries to get under his skin by bringing up Tracy's death. Before she can say another word, Alex pulls the trigger, ending it right then and there. With Jesse finally out of the picture, Alex rushes to Megan, wrapping her in a tight embrace before leading her safely out of the barn. At last, she's reunited with her parents, bringing this nightmare to an end. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.